Sagittarius, first things first, I apologize for you being the only sign who didn't get a reading last month. That's the first time I've ever not done one of the signs, so I apologize. Thank you for being patient with me. Now, I do feel like there's a lot of movement and energy available to you this month if that's the way that you want to take things. This Ten of Wands went flying onto the floor, and when I picked it up, it was reversed, so I'm tempted to read it that way. With the Queen of Swords attached to it, I feel like wherever you had been confused on some level, or if the amount that you had to think about things was literally making your daily life a struggle and was making accomplishing your responsibilities or your goals a struggle, I feel, or you weren't sure where to exert yourself or like what deserved your priority type of attention, like that kind of thing, in terms of what direction you were taking with your overall life and especially your career. I feel like the Queen of Swords with the Ten of Wands in reverse is saying that, one, your mind is no longer your enemy. I feel like you're not letting the effort you want to put out and what it's worth and what it means to you divide you anymore. I also feel like your mental process and your ability to make clear-cut, decisive decisions is also no longer being infringed upon, whether it be by stress or by other people's obligations that you're somehow involved in or anything like that. I just feel like you're completely leveled out in terms of how your mind works in tandem with your physical energy level and what you do with that inspiration, what you do with that fire. With the Knight of Wands and the Page of Wands, I feel like you're going to have because of this level of clarity that you're gaining going into April, I feel like you're going to be ready to act on onto some ideas and definitely different opportunities that would advance you. They may advance you career-wise, but I just feel like overall the moves that you're making this month, Sagittarius, are going to advance you on a soul evolution way, right? So that can manifest into any type of manner. But I also feel like some of you may be getting the realization that you need more movement in your daily life and that you thrive when you know that you're not going to be stuck in the same place all the time, which is such a Sagittarius thing anyways. So you may have known that about yourself, but you didn't really know how to apply it to the choices that you were making or the careers that you go after. And I feel like you're just understanding this aspect of your personality in a new way so that you can like take advantage of it. But with the moon being here with the devil, I feel like you may, oh, look at it, it stands up. You may have the tendency to want to know like what it all means. And I also feel like this month you need to remember that confusion is a trap. Okay? Confusion is a trap. It's worth doing things for the experience as long as it's not going to set your spiritual evolution back. Okay? I feel like that's important for you to remember. So the only question you need to ask yourself, is this making me evolve? Is this taking me closer to my overall goal as a human being? Right? Ace of Wands again, now we have the Chariot. So I definitely feel like the people that are making strides this month are going to be future focused. I feel like a lot of physical movement is going to be available to you. This can even be just in your daily life. Like maybe you're picking up a workout routine or whatever you do going forward career-wise. It's going to require you to travel, or you realize you only want to work part-time and you want to work on a travel blog, part-time, whatever the case may be. Really quickly, I do monthly love readings. All the info for that is in the description box. Be sure to read the directions on my website. Also, private readings are opening back up soon. So be sure to join my mailing list down there so that you can be notified when booking is open, okay? All right, Sagittarius. Actually, let me take a sip of that first. Okay, so couple things. like I was saying in the beginning, what is going to determine whether or not you should act on something or put your energy behind something or put your cosign behind something this month is going to depend solely on whether or not it advances your overall soul's evolution. And that seems like such a broad painted thing, but at the same time, it's very specific. Because you can ask yourself questions like, does engaging with this cause me to step out of my comfort zone? Does engaging with this cause me to bring my best self to the table every day? Does engaging in or committing to this make me, be responsible, be mature, be grounded? Things like that. Like, think about healthy conditions to be in and ask yourself if the scenario or the offer that you're being given or the opportunities that you have, if they provide an environment that requires the best of you. Okay? That's really what it is. And I'm also seeing a theme here with having to parent your inner child, and that when you do so and they work in tandem, you're not at mercy for like the inner child wanting to throw a temper tantrum potentially. Because an unattended to inner child or an inner child that has a passive parent where you like always give in to the whining or the temper tantrums of the inner child, think about a parent that does that with their child. Like, if they're the kind of parent that's just like doesn't want to hear the kids, they give into everything the kid wants, eventually the kid realizes they're in control, and then nothing positive gets done and the adult is ragged and feels like they're not worth anything, right? And that's going to cause different imbalances. So I feel like that needs to be considered, because the overall energy this month is the King of Cups, and I feel like this is about maturity and a spiritual type of maturity. And when you're sure of yourself like you are in the King of Cups, you're very sure about your ability to make decisions that are good for you on all levels, mentally, spiritually, and physically. You're confident that what you're engaging in serves you and that you're in harmony with your world and you're in harmony with your overall, time and space. And that takes time to cultivate and develop. But the overall energy, again, from this deck too, is Door to Spirit. This is all about a spiritual initiation that is bringing you into a more rooted, grounded understanding of yourself and your inner workings. Bottom of the deck too was first chakra. So I feel like this is also about not engaging in like survival mechanisms or doing things simply out of a desire to have security, or feeling like that if you don't do something, it's a threat to your security, or that people are trying to infringe upon your security, or that being more moderate and less, things that are just coming at you, right? Your natural nature. And that makes sense, because what you're being asked to release is the Four of Swords with the Four of Pentacles. And on the Four of Pentacles, we do have the rune Disruption. So I feel like there's nothing left to consider in terms of whether or not your approach to the physical realm, like work, money, saving money, paying off debt, long-term career goals, whatever it is, your relationship to the physical world. I feel like if you've been trying to figure out like what the issue is or whatever, and it's just like you've been contemplating over here and you've been acting over here, but you've never yet tried to figure out what the merge point is and how to get them to work in tandem, I feel like your time is up. And the answer is you need to have the spiritual bond is the magnetic part. You have to have your heart and soul into something for things to work. That's what fire is. That's what Temperance, your card, is. It's about things merging together and becoming a whole new entity, right? It creates a third entity. So I feel like if you've been living in your different energies, like I feel like you've been living in mental energy and physical energy, and not at all really in spiritual or creatively motivated energy, and that has caused an imbalance in your energetic field, because the two fours of needing to be released, it's like what you've been doing to feel grounded or to feel secure or to feel a certain amount of structure in your life has been kind of a projection and not something that is genuine and can be easily maintained. Because a true strong foundation is one that we don't have to constantly tend to. It kind of does it for itself. You know what I mean? And the Four of Pentacles with the rune disruption is, I feel like also you need to not be passive about building said foundation. And I feel like you also can't afford to glaze over your any type of lack-based mentality that you're functioning from. Like, there needs to be an awareness that if you make a decision, you're not making it from a lack-based mentality. Because the Four of Pentacles with disruption is a wrench being thrown in a wheel that isn't really turning that well anyways. So the Four of Pentacles is someone who is fearful, right? Someone who feels like what they love and what they've worked so hard for is going to be ripped from them. And I feel like you've been reflecting on Four of Swords, how every time you start to get a handle on things, they get taken from you, and or something messes it up, right? And I think it's because you've been playing too small, because and just doing things like clamoring. I feel like this is like clamoring energy. Like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever is going to get me on the fastest or move me out of the situation the fastest. But none of it's genuine to your spirit, because the door that's not open that was once closed is the Eight of Swords, or excuse me, the Eight of Pentacles with the rune prosperity and the Ace of Swords, which means this month you have the opportunity to get clear on what work arena or what that you would prosper in, or what your passion project really is in life, or what your creative endeavor that you actually would like to exercise attention to, or overall that the reason that your seeds aren't popping up is because you've spread your energy out, like I was saying in the beginning, to so many different things that you're not focusing on the one thing that you actually care whether or not prospers, that actually makes your life easier, right? That actually lightens up your mental load as well with the Ace of Swords here. Because the Ace of Swords is saying, yes, you are going to get clear on how when you hone in your energy and focus it on the things that matter most, and focus it on, again, bettering yourself at work or making more money or having a fulfilling, prosperous lifestyle that yields you other things, I feel like you're realizing it's not that you weren't putting out enough physical effort to begin with. It's that it was getting spread out and you need to just focus on one thing. A lot of times the Eight of Pentacles, it just is about working, like, diligently. And usually you can't diligently work and hone your craft on multiple things. So I feel like the freedom you seek is not coming from a jack of all trades, Jane of all trades type of energy, especially if you've always worked odd jobs. I feel like that's not necessarily the type of freedom you need right now. I feel like the freedom that you need is in creativity. The freedom that you need is in having the spiritual element in your day-to-day life. And that's not saying, oh, you're spiritual, so you should be doing Reiki for a living. That's just saying that, you know, that's what's going to motivate you to be present. All right. Your current energy as it relates to all of this. In your head, we have the Empress. In your heart, the Hierophant. And in your foundation, we have the Six of Cups. On the Six of Cups, we have the rune Strength. So I feel like, again, it's important to parent your inner child with a little bit sterner of a hand, Sagittarius. I feel like that's just important right now. Because you want to get, it's like, okay, this may be very, very Saturnian of me, but it's the idea that, like, children function, there's the thought process that children function best under structure. That's not necessarily telling them what to do, but it's like teaching them how to use their time, right? Because as adults, those of us that struggle to accomplish things or struggle with time management often struggle with being successful, right? And then it's like, then we in turn usually struggle with being creative because we don't know how to use our time. So we get lost in all of that, right? So I feel like it's important to really feel grounded in your day-to-day life and to feel like you're coming to life with a sense of purpose as well as freedom and expression, right? Unlimited expression. I think that you just need to work with that youthful desire that you have to do whatever you want to do and to not be told what to do, and just hone it in and channel it into one specific thing. Find your outlet, and teach your inner child that there's a difference between restriction and like following a schedule. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the Empress and the Hierophant are the parents here, right? And these are other aspects of yourself. You're old enough now to parent your own inner child or be the parent that your inner child wanted all along. So with the Empress in your headspace, obviously being loving and nurturing and also being open to Venusian type of things like art and beauty and luxury and savoring the best parts of life, having that in your mentality, having that in your mind, the way that you approach what's possible, I feel like will greatly benefit you. I feel like when you see the best in the world and, you know, you appreciate the arts and you do things that, again, feed that part of your spirit, you're also going to get a lot more ideas. I feel like you're very receptive to the way the universe can offer you inspiration as well this month. With the Hierophant in your heart space, I feel like the reason you're so agitated that you have to like really get spiritual is because you feel like it's limiting or dogmatic in some way. And I feel like also if you were raised in a household that was very religious, I feel like you're having to create a new relationship with a feminine higher power. Like especially if you were raised in any type of religious dogma, typically women or the feminine energy, right, which is creative energy is feminine, gets no shine. It's all about Saturnian things, right? It's about lessons and karma and you give out what you get back and eye for an eye and all that kind of shit, right? And with the Hierophant, which also speaks to the things that you're committing to and how to commit to your heart and commit to things that you believe in, we have to really unpack what our relationship with flow is, right? Because I feel like a lot of you are living in extreme feminine energy, meaning you want the freedom and the frivolity to the point that you feel like yielding to any kind of structure will rob you of the spiritual experience that you're actually having through your freedom. But I feel like when you realize it's safe to believe what you believe and create your own structure in your own relationship with a higher power, in your own relationship with ebb and flow and femininity and expression, you won't be strengthening a childhood wound. You'll be strengthening the shadow aspect, like integration of why you experience what you experience as a child. Like it will actually grant you more freedom. And what's fascinating is Spirit's advice for you this month is the Devil with the rune Love and the Strength card. And I feel like it's important to also understand our relationship to, like, we have to understand that it's human to love things that are bad for us sometimes too. And that's okay. If we don't make ourselves aware of how we maybe secretly enjoy being in drama or listening to drama or gossiping, or if we don't like accept and acknowledge that we like maybe getting drunk or going out and partying, or we like, you know, doing things that other people would consider, you know, cheating or, you know, too taboo or whatever the case may be. I feel like it's not that you can't be all these things or have all these things. We're here on earth to have a human experience. I feel like this Devil card is just saying that it's all right to love things that are like wrong and dirty and unacceptable or whatever. You know what I mean? It's okay to and you can still be a quote like child of God or, you know, a spiritual being and still, you know, be into BDSM. You know what I mean? You can, God is still going to love you and communicate you in whatever way you understand it. I feel like that's what you're trying to really unpack, because Strength and the Devil together are both very sexual. Also, if your sexual relationships have been devoid of love, like if you've kept your like craziest, most like sexual relationships or desires separate from a spiritual, emotional type of relationship, I feel like Spirit is saying you're going to have to merge that soon. Otherwise, you're not going to be feeling as aligned or not feeling as like worth it. But Strength is also about understanding, again, like I was saying before, there's a time and a place for everything. And when you use moderation in something, when you learn that you can't do it all the time. It's not that you can't do it, you just can't do it all the time. I feel like this is about practicing restraint, Sagittarius. I really do. I feel like it's about practicing restraint and acknowledging that you may love to do things that don't always serve you. But if you are on your game and kind of diligent with yourself, other times you can wall out when you feel like it. Because strength is a very lustful energy, and it is an energy of like two extremes, right? And one telling the other, like, relax, like it's going to happen soon. You know, and I feel like it's very linked to the Six of Cups here in the sense that there is a guidance type of energy. So also, if you feel like it's pointless to like believe in a higher power because we can just do whatever we want and play God if we wanted to, you know what I'm saying? I feel like Spirit is saying like that's true, that's free will, but just know that at some point a higher power will intervene if that's what it is. And you may not view it as a higher power intervening, but it still is what it is. That's just your belief. You know what I'm saying? There's something there. I don't know how to really explain that the way that I need to, but there's something here about everyone believes whatever they want to believe. But ultimately, beyond all of us, beyond humanity, beyond our understanding and ability to comprehend, because we comprehend things through dogmatic and spiritual lenses and cultural lenses. Like, we're all lensed out, perspective-wise, right? If we were able to transcend all of that, we'd probably transcend a human body, right? So no matter what you call it, no matter what you feel the life force is, it's acting over all of our lives, whether you call it Buddhism, whether you call it God, whether you call it whatever. Like there's something that's bigger than all of us out there, and I feel like you're having to rectify your feelings with that too, and the fact that you may never really understand it. Okay, that's not for everybody, but that message needed to come through. Moving into May, we have the Five of Swords with the rune marriage and the Knight of Wands. So I feel like you might be dodging, again, committing to things going into May. Or you're going to have conflicting offers and you're going to have to choose pretty quickly which one is for you. I can't stress enough that you just need to get in alignment with your higher self first. Like, I feel like it's important. I also feel like it's important to not rush into any commitments. Mercury will be direct and all that, but Mercury will be in Aries, and I feel like that is going to kind of make you chomping at the bit a little bit. And I feel like you're feeling pressured on some level to like draw a definitive line in the sand about what you believe or what you're going to do for the rest of your life, and it's not that serious. You'll be able to change it later, so don't be afraid to claim something. You know what I mean? Don't beat around the bush because you're like, well, what if I don't believe this in 6 months and then I have to backtrack, you know? I just feel like also don't engage in arguments with people, especially about what they believe in or what they stand for versus what you do. Spirit, further clarify the Five of Swords with the Knight of Wands in the outcome position for Sagittarius. Interesting. Okay. That's too many cards. I feel like it's trying to give a whole nother message right here. If you're your own worst enemy when it comes to love, if you purposely seek the partnership of people that you know is probably like a risk, like you do it for a thrill, like you do risky things that can't work out, like let's say you like to, no shade, let's say you prefer people that are in a relationship, like you enjoy being a side chick or a side dude, right? Because you're like, I don't have to date them outright anymore. I get to just get what I want out of it. I feel like you're having to finally check yourself about that. Because it's messing with your life. And I feel like, not like in a bad way, but like it's just draining on you. And I feel like you're having to understand your relationship to the tendency you may have to stir up excitement that comes at a cost. All right, that's the only way I know really how to describe it. But we'll see what happens. Sagittarius, it's been a pleasure. Talk to you soon. Peace.